I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL, thanks for joining me. Today you are going to see 10 of the best fragrance purchases of 2020, but there's something very special about this video. To find out what it is, stay tuned to FM. Okay, the special thing about this video is I've enlisted some help from a good friend of mine. Brandon has a YouTube channel called Da Vinci's Alchemist, link down below. Brandon and I met in New York City a year ago when we were both attending the Scent Explore event, and we actually had quite a whirlwind few hours. We drank beer whilst watching football, we grabbed a pizza, we caught a movie, we even went fragrance shopping together. And I'm very honoured to have Brandon on my channel. I love what he's doing on his channel, which is why I reached out to him and asked him if he wanted to collaborate with me on this video, and hopefully it puts him on the radar of a few of you out there who have not yet discovered his channel. So, hey Brandon, thanks for agreeing to be part of this video.
Chris, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this presentation today. I had every intention of catching up with you again this year at Scent Explore and having a few pints again. Unfortunately, 2020, as we all know, is a beast, so we will probably just have to do it next year. But I am looking forward to seeing you up on the presenter screen this year at Scent Explore's virtual event. Thank you, FRAG-MENTAL fans, for having me. I'm super excited about today's video, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pass it over to Chris, and he will explain to you guys what it is we're doing today.
Yep, 2020 has indeed been a beast. By the way, the Scent Explore event is happening again this year, but it's happening virtually, so you can join in from anywhere in the world. If you want to join me, I'm on the panel for the event. It'd be great to see you there. So today, Brandon and I will be showing you the 10 best fragrances we've purchased in 2020. I'll be doing 5, Brandon will be doing 5, and we're both quite busy chaps, so it's been quite difficult to find the time to link up to do this video. So we thought to make it easy, we'd kind of just go about our daily lives and vlog about each of these fragrances. So hopefully it will make for some interesting content for you. All right, I'm gonna let my guest go first. Brandon, it's over to you.
So like I said before, 2020 has been quite a pain for everybody. I'm sure all you guys out there are feeling it. All my trip plans have gotten put on hold, unfortunately. I had every intention actually of going over to England, not only maybe convincing Chris to have a drink at the pub, but also to go see some of my other UK friends, hashtag bean sprayers. But I have been able to take solace in discovering some pretty amazing fragrances. So for this list, I'm gonna bring 5 to the table that I've had a lot of time spent with so far in 2020. I have had some other ones come up recently, but I haven't had enough time with those fragrances to really kind of flesh them out. First up on this list, I'm gonna kick things off with a house that I have pined over for quite a while, and that is Papillon Artisan Perfumes. Perfumer Liz Moore is an absolute magician, and Salome is one of my favorite from her line. This is Liz's take on a chypre, and it is, in my opinion, incredibly elevated. The animalics are tastefully blended with styrax, rose, jasmine, patchouli, and tobacco. It's incredibly comfortable, it's incredibly complex, it's an incredibly well-rounded composition. You absolutely should try it for yourself if you haven't yet. Salome from Papillon.
Well, it wouldn't take much convincing to get me in the pub. By the way, great first choice, Brandon. Salome sounds like a real treat, kicking off the list with a complex tobacco fragrance. Nice. The first one I'm going to mention is from Jean Paul Gaultier, new fragrance release for 2020. From Jean Paul Gaultier, it's Le Mal Le Parfum. I'm a big fan of Le Mal, as you know, and I love how this one connects with that DNA. It's just as mass appealing, but I think it's richer, it's more sensual. There's a gorgeous iris vanilla combination going on in this. I feel like this is the Le Mal that has grown with the trends, grown with the times, grown up a bit, which is perfect for me because I've grown up a bit too. Not too much though. All right, Brandon, back to you. What's next?
Well, I tell you what, Chris, I have not had a chance to try Le Mal Parfum yet, but I really, really want to. I can definitely appreciate some more grown-up aspects of fragrance. Speaking of being a grown-up, thusly I am folding my laundry so that it does not get into a huge, huge giant pile and mound on my bed here. Then I would have to go sleep on the couch because I'd have nowhere to sleep. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking to you. And speaking of grown-up fragrances, actually, my next one on my list is a wonderfully grown-up fragrance. It is a sexy fragrance. It is Sticky Fingers from Francesca Bianchi. This is sweet, slightly woody, leathery chocolate patchouli, almost kind of a honeyed tobacco. And there's this certain element, this vibe, this kind of human contact emotion that comes from this. And I gotta tell you, the bedroom is definitely the perfect place for this fragrance. Super, super incredibly sexy. And Sticky Fingers is actually the blind buy that kicked off my massive obsession with Francesca Bianchi perfumes. Highly recommended from my 2020 arsenal, and I'm going to get back to folding this laundry.
$89.90. Sticky Fingers sounds right up my street, and another tobacco. For my next one, I've chosen one that's been recently discontinued by Tom Ford, Plum Japonais, so I made sure I bought this quickly before I couldn't buy it anymore. This is spiced plums, soaked in brandy, sweetened with vanilla, and oud gives it plenty of depth. It's a real attention-grabbing, statement-making fragrance. Oh, and did I mention sexy as hell? So, if you want to be sexy and maybe you want to pick someone up, pick this up first. Oh, and work out. That helps too. Oh God, that's heavy.
Well, you always got to find time to walk the dog, right? I mean, that's just good pet parenting. So next one coming up on my list is fairly well known amongst the fragrance community. And this is, 2020 is the year that I finally got my bottle, and this is L'air du Désert Américain from Andy Tower Perfumes. This one really takes me back to the days when I used to write poetry when I was younger. The way that L'air du Désert Américain smells reminds me so very much of this hand-bound book that I used to write all my poems in. The pages have that same nice, dry, spicy sort of appeal to them. Now, I don't tend to really care about compliments, to be honest with you. I will say, however, that this one gets an awful lot of attention. It definitely has gotten me a lot of compliments, but the thing that matters most to me about it is, honestly, I just love it. Well, back home, safe and sound, managed to make it the whole entire walk without getting rained on. Gotta love that. Good start to the day. Super happy to have L'air du Désert Américain by Andy Tower in my collection, and now over to Chris.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm also out for a walk with Bertie. And the fragrance I'm going to mention is Aramis Tobacco Reserve. This is unlike any other tobacco I've got in my collection. This has got a dry greenness to it. It's very gentlemanly, very well put together. Dries down to reveal this beautiful orris, and then there's some tonka beans sweetening things up a little bit. Maybe leans a little older, but hey, we're all getting a little older. Sadly discontinued, but I think if you look hard enough, you can still pick this one up. So back to you for your next one.
I gotta keep up with Chris. That guy's like a machine. It's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going and going. Speaking of going and going, I want to talk about one of my favorite pickups from 2020, and that is Bervuvu from January Scent Project. There we go. Much better. Multiple kinds of cedar, honey, ginger rose, earthy musk in the background. I've said this a few times about Bervuvu. It reminds me a whole bunch of being inside of a koji room in a sake brewery. Magnificent composition, incredibly fitting for where I live, which is the Pacific Northwest. I highly recommend this artistic fragrance, Bervuvu from January Scent Project.
Thanks, Brandon. Love Bervuvu. The next fragrance I'm going to talk about is one that I bought earlier this year, but it's become one of my favorites. Creed Viking. This is still my favourite Creed. It's fresh, invigorating, but it's got quality and lots of depth. Mint, pepper, rose, sandalwood make for a scent that really conquers. This city is famous for its Vikings, but one thing's for sure, the Vikings that walked these very streets long before me were certainly not smelling this good.
Well, Chris, if you ever make it to the Pacific Northwest, my friend, this is someplace that I've got to take you. Sometimes the only way to put behind the stress of the city is to get the hell out of it and get out into the woods. Last on this list, but first pickup of 2020 is Gaia from some Tari perfumes. When I first smelled a sample of it, I was immediately drawn to it and needed to have a bottle. And it just definitely has not disappointed. Every piece of it reminds me of being out in the wilderness, specifically in the Pacific Northwest wilderness. Sweet, delicious honey mixed with florals, wonderful leafy green notes poking through, and a particular chord that stands out most to me, and that is wet earth. An incredibly wonderful, beautiful, and to me complex composition, very deserving of more attention than it gets. Well, I don't profess to know what was in perfumer Peter Carter's mind or his soul when he was creating Gaia, but I like to think that maybe he was urging us to all stop, get outside, take a look around, and be in Mother Earth's glory and her calmness and her peace, and just enjoy ourselves and breathe and be. I mean, look at this. Well, that's the last one on my list of 5 of my favorite pickups from 2020. I'm super excited to see what Chris has for his final pick, so back to Chris.
I love Dendera, but I've never tried Gaia, so I really should smell it. Okay, I'm gonna finish off this list with my best gourmand purchase of 2020, but first, I think I deserve a coffee.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm all right. Okay, so I've got my coffee, and coffee is actually very appropriate for this next fragrance, and for some reason in the cafe I suddenly decided I wanted to try and recreate the fragrance in drink form, so I asked them to put some caramel flavouring in my coffee, which they did. Unfortunately, they didn't have any rum. So have you guessed what it is yet? By Kilian's Black Phantom. Rum, caramel, coffee, chocolate, beautiful gourmand notes that just blend seamlessly and smoothly into one another. This just works perfectly in these cooler temperatures. I've had my eyes on this one now for a few years, and I'm very happy to say that finally, Black Phantom no longer eludes me. Okay, so sometimes fragrances, especially gourmand fragrances, taste so good you want to drink them, but don't do that. Never drink your fragrances. So I'm going to update you on my quest to make a drinkable version of Black Phantom. So I have my black coffee. I asked the cafe to put some caramel flavouring in, which they did. Unfortunately, they didn't have any rum, but I preempted that. I brought my own, so let's have a little dram, and I finally get to live out my fantasy. Let's see how it tastes. Well, I'm not sure it tastes exactly like Black Phantom smells, but it tastes damn good. Okay, so there you go. Brandon and I picked out 10 fragrances that we've purchased so far this year and we can recommend to you. So Brandon, thank you so much for being a part of this video.
It's been a very busy day. Definitely time to relax. Chris, thank you again so much for having me. Look forward to doing this again soon. Looking forward to seeing you up on the presenter screen at Scent Explore, and I can't wait to get my butt over to England and have a pint with you. FRAG-MENTAL fans, thank you so much again for having me. Cheers to your health. I hope to see all of you again in the future, and I hope the rest of your 2020 is amazing. And don't forget, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling good.
All right. Don't forget, I've left a link to Brandon's channel in the description below this video. You will also see a picture of him on the end screen in a few seconds, so you can click through either of those to get to his channel. Show him some love if you like what you see. Give him a sub because he really is putting some good content out there. So no matter where you are, no matter where you're going, don't forget, keep calm, stink pretty, and I'll see you in the next one.